guys, Rip the Rage here. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to a new series I'm thinking of starting on the channel. I don't know, let's see how the first episode goes. This is sort of an informational news type thing. I might do this every week, compiling stuff from the internet and so forth, but today I thought, since it came in today, I would talk to you guys about Game Informer. This is the July issue, and as you can see, Infinite Warfare is on the cover, which is awesome. I'm glad to see somebody is not completely hating on COD right now. But everybody else on the planet is, which is totally uncalled for. Seems how the game isn't even out yet, and you know, people are already judging it based on rumors and just because it's futuristic. That totally pisses me off. But I thought we would take a look at Game Informer and read some of the articles. I did this previously with some Black Ops 3 gameplay. If you guys want to check that out on the channel, it is a very old video by now. Of me basically talking about a guy when they learned that this was back when they were talking about how PlayStation had now gotten the contract from Activision to where they now had the rights to Call of Duty, and now they're going to get the DLC stuff a month early. It was called Angry Xbox article, and if you guys want to check that out, I'd advise checking it out because it's one of my better commentaries. I think it's a nice responding piece, nice commenting on a comment, you know. But in this issue, as you can see, it's back-to-back. Coolness. I've got a giant stack of Game Informers. So as you can see here, typical stuff. So let's see. This issue features Call of Duty Infinite Warfare on page 36. They're talking about the rise of Iron from the Destiny Rise of Iron things. The director of Warcraft is going to talk in here. I might save that for my World of Warcraft, or my not World of Warcraft, but my Warcraft review, because I went and saw that. I want to say it was Saturday. No, not Saturday. It was Sunday? I can't remember what day I saw it. I saw it this weekend, though. And it was really, really good. If you guys think about seeing Warcraft, I would suggest it highly. They're also talking about world building with words. So there's all kinds of neat stories in here. And Game Informer is an analog piece of information. They kind of compile all the information they can for the next month. But this is kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and get started here. One of my favorite segments is on the feedback section. So let's see. Short answer to readers' burning questions. Can Darth Clark DJ my birthday party? He can, but he won't. Let's see. How about an article on the top 25 or 50 Steam games you haven't played? That would be hard since we haven't played them. Yeah, about right. What do you think Nintendo should do with the Paper Mario series? Origami. It says zing. That's clever. Let's see. Reader gibberish. I've started to realize that by the time I start learning a new language, it will have taken over my soul like dark matter consuming a heart-shaped planet. This is in parentheses, sunny side up. Okay, I don't know who that sent that in, but dude, you need to learn you some English and some context, because what the fuck. Okay, let's see, what else is in here? I'm just going to fold it back for a minute. Alright. Let's see, question of the month. What does Nintendo's NX console need to make you buy it? Nothing really, because I'm not a big Nintendo fanboy. Now, if they wanted to, put some kick-ass games on there, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, like they did on the GameCube, then maybe that'd be fun. Alright, so let's see. Here's an interesting piece. It says, sequel or DLC? In issue 277, we asked readers whether they would prefer a year of DLC support for a game they already own, or a sequel to it. Once we weeded out the wishy-washy responses, it's an either-or question. DLC was the clear, not to mention surprising favorite. This is a response from Austin Michelson. Personally, I think a year of DLC for a game you love is the best way to go. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be all over a sequel, but it'd take longer to develop and might not be as good. Plus, the DLC might even end up being free. Very good point. Titanfall 2, the creators behind that, have recently stated that all of their map and mode DLC will be 100% free. So, your move, COD and Battlefield, your move. Next, we have a response from Ahmed Abdallah. I hope I'm saying that name right. I would say a sequel is better than a year of DLC support. Why? Because the sequel will be new while the DLC is still part of the same game. Why would I need more content that I already own? It's a fair assumption. And finally, third answer comes from Tyler Cox. C-O-X, you perverts, not the other kind of Cox. It depends. If the game wraps its story up in such a way where a sequel would be unnecessary, like Arkham Knight, then DLC is a great option to increase the game's longevity. However, if the story leaves enough mystery and questions to warrant a sequel like Uncharted, or its universe is broad enough in scope like Fallout, then a sequel is great. I have to agree with that answer. I like how they kind of did the answers on this one. It was kind of 50-50. They had kind of like a Rogerian strategy thing where it was one guy wanted DLC, the other guy didn't want DLC. One guy wanted a DLC, one guy wanted a sequel, the other guy... And then the other guy was like, well, if the DLC is necessary, or if the sequel is necessary, then yeah, I'll go with that over DLC. And he's completely right about Fallout. Fallout, I've always theorized, would do great if they worked... Here's my idea with Bethesda. Bethesda, if you're listening, this would be my idea with it. I would release Fallout and Elder Scrolls games every 4 years, maybe. Give it a good chunk of time to work on it to make a great game. But in the meantime, if you want to do every 2 years or even a yearly title to keep people kind of interested in the lore, release little side projects. Kind of like, I've said this multiple times in videos, I'm sure by now. Everybody knows what I'm about to say. But for those that haven't, I would love to see a game. I've always thought of making a game for Fallout lore. And it would be Fallout lore The Dig. And it would be about the Institute and how the Institute managed through all their decades of stuff. The entire game would be you as the first, like, you know, leaders of the Institute, going through all the problems up until the point in Fallout 4 when Father takes over. And then it's like, okay, well, now we begin. And then they wait for... Then you play as Father, waiting for your dad to show up, and then he shows up, and then, boom, roll credits. I think that'd be a pretty fun game. They could do the similar thing with Elder Scrolls. You could see the history of the Dragonborns. You could just see a bunch of different Dragonborns and play a bunch of different missions that some of the Dragonborns had to take over. I mean, could you imagine playing the quest to be the first Dragonborn? That could be insane. Alright, so here's On Your Mind. This is a sort of a statistical thing they get from feedback. So, let's see. Sequel or DLC debate. We got about a half on that. Final Fantasy fanfare, that's second, coming in about, you know, a quarter. Let's see. VR hype and skepticism is at just under a quarter. NX anxiety, NX for the Nintendo's new console thing, is about half a quarter. And then lamenting Fable's fate. Okay, so yeah, apparently Fable's not doing too hot, which does kind of suck. But that's doing really low. So if you guys want to see the actual numbers here, over here is the chart. As you can see, it ranges from sequels, not sequels, etc. My camera makes that really blurry. I'm sorry. So that's an interesting segment. Another thing here, it says no fly zone. This should be interesting. This is an email from Ethan Pethel to the writers of Game Informer. It says, no fly zone. Like many gamers, I was introduced to the first-person shooter genre with the original Doom. With the new reboot to the franchise fast approaching, I still wonder why many sources say there is no name for the main protagonist other than Doom Guy. The 1999 novel, Knee Deep in the Dead, Doom Book 1, gives our hero the name Flynn. Flynn Fly Taggart. Taggart is a great name. I've heard Taggart in multiple sci-fi things, and in different shows and movies and stuff. Taggart just is always a great name. It also happens to be the name of some of the protagonists of Daphne Taggart in Atlas Shrugged, which is an interesting read. I've never finished the book. I got a good bit into it, but I never finished it, unfortunately. Not a big reader. Anyway, back to this. Why is it that only a few sources apply Fly's name to our lovable slayer of the demon hordes? Also, will the new Doom game give the character a name or simply refer to him as Doom Guy as well? Okay, Game Informer's response to this is, according to the myriad game spin-offs and extended fiction, Doom's main protagonist has at various times been called John Grimm, John Kane, B.J. Blazkowicz, Stan Blazkowicz, and the aforementioned Flynn, none of which are any cooler than the fan-given moniker Doom Guy. The truth? The protagonist is unnamed and referred to in the second person during the game for a reason. He's supposed to be you. In our hearts, however, he'll always be known as Doom Guy. Which, that makes sense, right? If you're playing the game, you don't want to break the immersion. This is the problem with Fallout 4. Is in Fallout 4, they give you this lengthy thing to customize your guy with, right? They give you this great customization, the face and the features and everything. You can make pretty much anybody you want. You can, if you spend long enough on it. I mean, the sliders and everything are great, where you can pretty much copy down anybody from pop culture or video games or whatever that you want to recreate, if you can take the time and patience to recreate them. I've seen some crazy shit. I've seen people make the Joker. I've seen people make Harley Quinn. I've seen people make Trevor from GTA 5. It's crazy. But then they went ahead and gave the protagonist a voice. That is a big fucking issue, okay? You do not give the protagonist a voice. That's stupid. Okay, if it's an RPG to where you create the character yourself, and you name the character yourself, don't give him a backstory. The backstory should be, he comes from nowhere, it is ambiguous, nobody knows, and boom, there's your character. Okay, now, in cases of, say, The Witcher 3, that's a different story, because that person is established, okay? Geralt of Rivia is the person you're playing as. He has a full backstory, full, lore behind him and everything, and it is a proper RPG. You are playing the role of Geralt of Rivia. Now, that's completely acceptable to name him then, and give him a voice then. But in customizable ones like Fallout 4 or, the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, in Skyrim, it's like, you make your fucking guy, they didn't give him a voice until Fallout 4. In Fallout 4, you give him a voice, ruined it. Ruined it. It just breaks the immersion too much, in my opinion. Anyway, moving on. We have some art here in the gallery. We have a Sans playing a, what is that? A freaking trumpet? I think, yeah, it looks like a trombone, maybe. That ranks at number 4 by Lillian Peterson. Undertale's characters are as adorable as they are unbelievable. Come on, there's no way a skeleton could wear shorts. The next one comes from Gabriel Denman. It is a picture of, I don't even know how to describe this. It's just a bunch of characters facing opposite directions from Zelda. I've never been a fan of The Legend of Zelda, so I don't know. It says, Link has secretly been every character in every Zelda game. It's like Fight Club. Seriously, take our word for it. Play all the games again and you'll see we're right. That's interesting. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Zelda, so I can't really argue on that point. Then we have what appears to be from Bloodborne. Madison Brake sends in at number 2. The tighter the pants, the faster the evasive roll, right? Yeah, this is definitely related to Bloodborne from the way it looks. And then the winner was Andrea Cadle, which has Bowser smoking with his badass little... do you remember the dudes on the chains in Mario? The ball dudes that would come after you like a dog on a chain? Yeah, he's got that as like a little pendant on his necklace. He's got like this spiked jacket. He actually looks pretty badass. It says, this is what Bowser would look like if he were designed by Tetsuya Nomura. Okay, so let me try and show you guys some of the art that I'm talking about. So if you can see there, across the page you can see Sans, then there's the Zelda thing. Right here where my finger is, that's the Bloodborne thing. And then we have the winner is Bowser. And I think that's pretty cool, actually. I think she deserved to win because I like Sans, I like Bloodborne, not a big fan of Zelda, like I said. But that Bowser is pretty freaking cool. Alright, so let's see what else in there. Destiny Rise of Iron. I'm not reading that article because Destiny fucking sucks. Okay, I've said it. Okay, somebody had to say it. Now, let's get to my favorite segment. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I love this segment. This is the reason I read Game Informer, to hear about these stories that usually go unnoticed by the YouTubers that I watch. It's not like I watch any like news channels for like any kind of gaming news channels or anything, but I do watch some guys that have commentaries on things, and some of these usually go unsurpassed, or this just gives me more detail on it. So, the good. Respawn Entertainment, the studio behind Titanfall, is working on a third-person Star Wars action game to be published by Electronic Arts. If the developer's pedigree alone wasn't enough, the project is being headed by Stig Asmussen, the director of God of War 3. That sounds amazing. I like me some Star Wars games. Maybe not from EA, but, it's Star Wars, so that's cool. The bad. Disney canceled its Disney Infinity Toys to Life franchise, but also shut down the internal studio behind it, Avalanche. No affiliation to the similarly named developer of the Just Cause series. From now on, the company will license its properties like Star Wars out to others for future video games. Previous to launching Disney Infinity, Disney Interactive shut down several of its own internal studios, and back in 2013, when Disney bought Lucasfilm, Disney also closed video game arm LucasArts. That pisses me off, that George Lucas would just openly abandon his series like that. The problem here lies that George Lucas is a piece of shit. Honestly, like to the point where I did a paper in ENC 1101. I did a paper on how Han shot first, and even George Lucas himself said, oh well, I never intended for Han to shoot first. It was supposed to be Greedo, right? And when I remade it, people shouldn't be arguing it. Okay, they're just stupid for arguing that. This is an actual interview. I researched this properly. And yeah, I'm not a fan of Lucas because he just sold out, and same reason I'm not a fan of Notch because he just sold out and let Windows grab Minecraft, and he made this great indie title, and he hasn't made anything since. He made his money, he moved on, and he said fuck off to his fans. That's pain in the ass. Alright, moving on. Finally, The Ugly. The Legend of Zelda on Wii U has been delayed into 2017, and will now release with a version of the game on Nintendo's upcoming NX system. This is bad news for Wii U owners, as they have one less exclusive title to look forward to on the system. It also signals the effective end of the console, since a chunk of its crowd will now buy the NX version instead. Nintendo only expects to sell 800,000 units of the Wii U worldwide in the fiscal year 2017. That's because the console sucks, you guys failed, you had the Wii for a while, and then nothing. Your only intellectual properties at this point, Legend of Zelda, Mario. That's the only people even like you anymore, Nintendo. Okay, come up with something better. Like, Jesus Christ, be innovative. Okay, I know you want to be different and all that, and that's great. But how about put an actual controller in, make an actual good console that can handle actual games, okay, and try and compete with the other consoles. Okay, you're like the annoying little brother. Okay. While PlayStation and Xbox are fighting in their room, you're just kind of doodling downstairs, you know, just so you know, mommy industry can then take it and put it up on the fridge and be like, oh, you did a thing. Meanwhile, Xbox and PlayStation have their freaking trophies on a shelf behind it, this giant, massive shelf of different achievements they have, and then you have this little drawing on a fridge. That's basically what the Wii is in the gaming world. It's just an atrocity. Finally, we have a quotable. It says, "We'll deliver the new play in the new feature with the cutting-edge equipment, technology, and the frontier spirit. The gear here he's wearing is the Extra Vehicular Activity, or EVA, creative suit." That was Hideo Kojima explains the 3D image of Kojima Productions' new logo. Let me go ahead and show you guys the new logo we're talking about. Right about there. That guy is apparently what their new logo is, which is kind of an interesting logo, I have to say. That's kind of interesting. Guy in a spacesuit kind of tells, like, hey, we're going to the future with this. That is a rather large article on world building with words. They're talking about Far Cry Primal and how they made the language in that, and how they made The Sims, and how they made like people speaking gibberish and whatnot. Let's see. Big indies aim to steal the spotlight. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so there's a bunch of indie games at E3 apparently that were kind of impressive. Honestly, don't care. Do genres mean anything anymore? That sounds like an interesting article. Let's go ahead and read this. So this is it's an opinion piece by Jeff Corks, the senior editor of Game Informer. So let's see here. Let's play a word association game. I'm going to call out a series of words, and your job is to think of the first game that comes to mind. Got it? Great. First-person shooter, real-time strategy, fighting. What'd you come up with? For first-person shooter, maybe something like Doom, Call of Duty, or Counter-Strike. Accurate enough. Did real-time strategy conjure up memories of StarCraft or Age of Empires? Yeah, real-time strategy goes straight to StarCraft. I gotta give them that one. And how about the last one? Are you a Street Fighter person? Maybe the King of Fighters more style? I'm sorry. When you're talking fighting games, fuck Street Fighter, fuck Tekken. I go for Mortal Kombat. Why? Because Mortal Kombat is the king. Thank you very much. Or how about Super Smash Bros? Not so fast. Despite being a game in which your primary way of interacting with other players is punching and kicking, Nintendo's franchise isn't technically considered a fighting game in some competitive circles. The fuck? How can it not be a fighting game? It's literally a game about beating the shit out of your opponent and throwing them off a map. How much more fighting game do you want? Okay, let's see what he has to say. Naysayers cite the game's easy-to-execute special moves, emphasis on platforming, and randomized item distribution as disqualifying factors. While I think those arguments are silly, which they are, that was me, and you can create custom rules to circumvent most of them, they're indicative of a larger issue. As games continue to borrow elements from other genres, the concept of genres as a whole has become increasingly irrelevant. Take Rise of the Tomb Raider, for example. What is it? Lara Croft explores her surroundings, solving puzzles to navigate dangerous environments. That sounds a lot like an adventure game, in the same way that Legend of Zelda games can be lumped into that broad genre. But hold on, there's a big emphasis on stealth, putting it in the company of series like Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid.
Then again, you can also play it like an all-out action game, taking on foes like you would in a typical third-person shooter. However you decide to tackle combat, it's wise to put points toward the abilities that will best help your style. I just screwed that sentence up. Adding to the invisible damage rolls that happen behind the scenes. Wait, is it an RPG? He's got a point there. I'll give him a point there.
So is anybody else, when I'm reading this, talking about all these different things kind of blending together and meshing together, is anybody getting like mental Venn diagrams going on of like, okay, well it falls in this category and this, or do you guys get more of a mental checklist of criteria that make it similar to other games? Or is it just like a giant web? Leave it in the comments below what you'd imagine, because I was imagining like Venn diagram stuff. I don't know. That's just how my mind works. Let's see here. Continuing on. Ultimately, Game Informer filed it under Action, which is the big top-sized umbrella that these hard-to-categorize games typically lie under. Or live under, I'm sorry, not lie. Let's see. Where was I? Ooh, lost my place. Here we go. Whenever I type the word action in a genre bullet point, it feels like a synonym for defeat. Once a game slips away from genres that are purely descriptive, first-person shooter, rhythm, racing, pinning them down can be futile. When I talk to my friends about a new game they should try, I rarely bring up the genre. Instead, the discussion sounds like an elevator pitch to a movie executive. It's like Skyrim, but in a post-apocalyptic world. It's Dark Souls meets H.P. Lovecraft. Think Uncharted without all the dopey jokes. Yeah, Uncharted and Tomb Raider are pretty much the exact same game, except, you know, you're staring at Lara Croft's ass all day instead of Nathan Drake's. Never been a fan of the whole adventure puzzle game thing. That might be why I'm not a fan of Resident Evil. Okay, the indie game Stardew Valley was an office sensation, but not once did I hear anyone talk about it as being role-playing, which is what we categorize it as. It's like old-school Harvest Moon. Stardew Valley, I actually saw a bit of gameplay of that, and I was actually thoroughly impressed. And, unfortunately, I watched it on Jacksepticeye's channel. I intentionally stayed away from everybody else's channel on it because I wanted to see Jack's impression of it, and I love watching Jacksepticeye do playthroughs. It's, you know, he's just a very energetic YouTuber. And Stardew Valley, it looked like a fun game. It really did, and it sucks because he didn't continue the series because it kind of got played out while he was away at, like, I think it was like PAX East or something. While he was away, he didn't set anything up for it, so people kind of lost interest. And there's a few people in the comments section talking about it, but he didn't want to make it just for the sake of making it, which is what I commend Jack. This is why I watch Jack. He puts a lot of his heart and soul in his videos. Anyway, moving on here. I keep getting off topic. Let's see. I understand that categorizing is important for the magazine and a few other oddball instances, even though doesn't translate how to talk. Okay, alright, dude, you're the senior fucking editor of a magazine. Could you watch your typos, please? I know it's a large article. Come on, man. You've got spell check. I mean, I understand that categorizing is important for the magazine and a few other oddball instances, even though it doesn't translate to how we... Even though they don't translate to how we talk about games. He wrote it all wrong, guys. I'm not fucking that up as players. Netflix and other streaming sites categorize wildly diverse films under categories like drama, comedy, and that old bugaboo action to make it easier for viewers to find what they're looking for. At the same time, algorithms create far more granular subgenres such as suspenseful action featuring a strong female lead, which are verbose but certainly more helpful than drama. Other forms of entertainment struggle with this too, as artists pile their plates high with a variety of dishes from the creative buffet. Many of us laughed more at the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for awarding The Martian a Golden Globe for Best Comedy or Musical than we did with the actual film. Sure, it featured bits of comedy, and Matt Damon's astronaut did play some disco CDs while marooned on Mars, but does that make it a comedy? No, it doesn't. I like the movie The Martian. It's actually sitting right, where is it? Over there. It's sitting in a stack over there. I actually liked The Martian. It was a good movie. But yeah, they're right. It's not comedy. In spite of my belly aching, I'm trying to see the positive side of things. It's a plus for gamers to even be able to talk about this. Think about how far we've come. RPGs almost always used to mean games where you can buy new swords and shields on your way to slay a dragon or ogre chieftain. Now an RPG can take place in a high school or inside Bowser. Meanwhile, though, I still may have to fill in action in the little sidebar. I'll do my best to tell you what's really going on in the meat of my writing.
And then there's a little disclaimer here. It says the views and opinions expressed in this column are strictly those of the author and not necessarily those of Game Informer. So they're pretty much covering their ass if anybody disagrees with him. Like, yeah, we didn't say it. We just okayed him to write it. We didn't actually tell him to write it, though. This is totally his idea, which is kind of sneaky, but, you know, whatever. Ooh, nice apparel. So there's an ad for ThinkGeek in here. Cool shirts and whatnot. Oh, here we go. They have a top 10 list every month in here. This month is top 10 unresolved cliffhangers. Number 10, to be continued. That's all it says. That's clever. It just has a random picture of a dude standing on a road. Let's see. Number 9, PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy. Never played that game myself. PsyOps let you use a number of psychic powers to crush your enemies. It also had an interesting military complex action story that didn't get proper closure due to Midway Games' closure. Number 8 is Advent Rising. The first in a trilogy that never came about. Advent Rising was an ambitious action game with a compelling story that ended with a series of portal hops and a mysterious being leading our hero into the unknown future. Yeah. Alright, number 7 is The Darkness 2. Jackie Estacado can't catch a break. After avenging the death of his girlfriend and trying to keep his powers in check, he faces off against the mysterious Brotherhood and eventually ends up stranded in hell, howling in despair. Bummer. Yeah, that would be a bummer. Conduit 2. Conduit 2 ends with Abraham Lincoln and George Washington stepping out of a portal wearing battle armor and coming to your aid in an epic battle. That never manifested because we never got a sequel. Robbing the world of wacky sci-fi delights. Now that sounded like something I'd be interested in. Why the hell are Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, together at all? Let's see. Darksiders 2. I think I played the original Darksiders. I think I may have. Across 2 games, Darksiders built a fascinating world and story about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the premature end of the world. The second game ended on a mysterious note, hinting at larger things to come in a sequel we may never get. Yeah, I think I did play a demo of the first Darksiders, but I never played Darksiders 2. I know which game they're talking about, though. Let's see. XIII. XIII was a slick shooter with a great espionage story centered on our protagonist, Jason Fly, being framed for the assassination of the president. The game ends with Fly facing off against the true villain, but the lack of a sequel means we'll likely never see how that scenario plays out. And that's unfortunate. That sounds like an interesting storyline. Number 3 is Mega Man Legends 2. Legends is a great sub-series to the beloved Mega Man franchise that ends on one heck of a cliffhanger with Mega Man and friends stranded on a mysterious planet. Mega Man Legends 3 would have wrapped things up, but it was cancelled in 2011. Taking the number 2 slot is Alan Wake. Poor Alan, he goes through so much to save his wife, only to end up in a mysterious limbo, exclaiming cryptically, "It's not a lake, it's an ocean." Though Remedy followed up with DLC and American Nightmare, we still haven't received a sequel or an answer to Wake's current predicament. I've never played Alan Wake, so I can't speculate on that, but if he says it's not a lake, it's an ocean, that kind of hints at maybe his whole perception of reality was wrong, and he is just waiting to dive into something even deeper, tip of the iceberg and all that. And number 1 is Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Could any other game have taken this spot? Not only does the second episode of Half-Life 2's continuation end bleakly and with a series of unanswered questions, but it's been nearly a decade since then with no word on the next installment. I never played Half-Life 2 myself, so I never played Half-Life or Half-Life 2 at all, but I did play Portal 2. I never played the original Portal. But all I can say is, Valve, can you count to 3? There are sequels that need to be made and stories that need to be finished. For fuck's sake, get on it! Okay, so let's see. Ubisoft CEO discussed the publisher's critical year ahead. That's a big-ass article. I'm not reading that right now. Let's see. So there's some advertisement of cool stuff in here. It seems like they're doing kind of a jewelry week. It's like a top 10 of cool stuff to buy. There's some Mega Man enamel pin sets for $20. There's Mega Man and a couple characters in the game. Some Portal Aperture logo cufflinks for $30. That's not bad. An Assassin's Creed Syndicate belt buckle for $30. That's not bad either. Oh, Warcraft King Lane's Lionhead ring. Oh, that is cool as shit. I would buy that if I had the money. $250. What the hell? This is a fluff and vulture laundry. We don't know why you'd want to show pride to the Alliance, but you can with the Sterling... Ooh, it's Sterling Silver. That would be why it's so costly. Even better, of this replica of King Lane's ring from World of Warcraft on your hand and pretend it's eating your finger. Okay, so we've got... Oh, I know what this is. Yeah, this is the Elder Scrolls Amulet of Mara. This is the thing that you would isn't this the thing you would wear when you wanted to get married? Not work. In Skyrim, this enchant symbol of Mara, the goddess of love, helps you get married. Yeah, I know. I remember this. With any luck, this replica intertwined knotwork necklace featuring a 6mm turquoise center might help you do the same thing. This goes for $95. Let's see. Next is a Nuka-Cola bottle cap necklace for $60. Okay, so it's very bleak. It's not really like a red one. It's just a simple, crappy one. There's no red paint or anything that makes it look like an actual bottle cap. It's just, you know, crappy metal. So $60 might be a bit pricey for that one. Then again, they're selling you on the name. They're selling you on the brand, not the actual product. Same thing happens with in real life products too. A silver ring of the Lucy pendant from Final Fantasy X5. I think that's 15. Yeah, I guess. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. I'm not even a little fan of Final Fantasy. Let's see. A Mass Effect relay necklace. Oh, that's cool. That's not bad. $200. It better not be bad. 20-inch rounded box chain. Wow. And finally, Uncharted Drake's watch. For $150, you get this watch that's apparently a complete replica of Nathan Drake's watch. Time your jumps off a crashing train with this watch designed to look like Nathan Drake's timepiece from the Uncharted series. This 41mm stainless steel silver watch with Italian cuff leather band is scratch resistant and water resistant up to 150 feet. I'd say that's worth $150, even if you don't like Nathan Drake and all that. As just a regular, like, resistant, nice leather watch, then yeah, I would say that's worth it. Let's see, what else is there? There's some more. There's some propaganda stuff from GameStop in here. There's some upcoming releases for July. It says that the BFG, or the Big Friendly Giant, will release on July 1st. July 5th, we'll see the release of Rocket League Collector's Edition and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8. I don't even know that game, but okay. Apparently, you guys are getting a number 8, so if you play that game, good for you. Let's see. On July 6th, Justice League will be released. This is 6.1, so I don't know. So Justice League, the second month of DC Comics Rebirth event, welcomes a new ongoing Justice League series that kicks off with the team adding 3 members to its roster. Okay, so I guess it's a TV show. I'm not sure. Let's see. Doctor Strange Prelude. Okay, so they're actually the Doctor Strange film. The Doctor Strange film isn't due until November 4th, but fans can get a Prelude 2-issue comic on the 6th of July, so that's cool. Get you kind of hyped for the movie, which I've never really known Doctor Strange. I've known kind of the big names in Marvel, but never the littler names. So maybe it could be good to go see that movie. Because I know Civil War is kind of the prelude to the Infinity Wars, and the Infinity Wars is supposed to be this big, massive thing. By the way, Marvel's kicking the shit out of DC in the cinematic universe. I mean, DC might have comics, but when it comes to the silver screen, yeah, Marvel wins every fucking time. Let's see here. On July 12th, there will be several new released games. Seven's Dragon 3 Code VFD for the 3DS. Ghostbusters, so they're actually making another Ghostbusters game. Big deal. Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme VS Force for the PS Vita. Song of the Deep for PS4. I actually saw some gameplay of Song of the Deep. It looks kind of alright. So the new Ghostbusters is going to be coming out on July 15th. Why you need to fuck with the Ghostbusters series, I got no idea. I mean, it doesn't look that horrible, but it better not be horrible is what I'm saying. If you fuck up Ghostbusters, I'm going to hate whoever made it. I don't know who's making it, but whatever office it is, yeah, you better not fuck it up, because Ghostbusters is a very loved, movie series by me. Now, number 2 was okay. Number 1 was still better, though. Seems like that's a lot with the 80s movies. The 80s movies seem to have, like, the original's great, and then the sequel's, like, okay. And then if you get a third one, it's like, please, God, no more. Except Back to the Future. Back to the Future is really cool because it kind of wraps everything up in a nice time bow. Let's see. Okay, so, July 19th. Oh, this is interesting. Ark Survival of the Fittest will be released on PS4, and I Am Setsuna will be released on PS4 and PC. Now, I have a fucking issue with that, because they're releasing Ark Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest is their arena kill-em-all fucking king of the hill mode, where it's last man standing. Actually, I'm going to go into my game files to make sure that's exactly what it is, because I have that here somewhere. Yeah, here's Ark. I'm going to load up Ark real quick, just to confirm that this is a separate piece of it. Ah, will you go away, you stupid thing. Yes, I want to open Ark. It asks me this every time. Every time when I open Ark, it just asks me, hey, you want to open Ark? Well, no shit, I want to open Ark. Okay. Alright. Is it ever going to open Ark? There we go, we're opening Ark. I'm just trying to get my facts straight for you guys. Yeah, I think Survival Evolved is their original game where you just build your base and stuff, and then it's PvE and PvP, and then yeah, Survival of the Fittest is the standalone competitive esport version of it. Basically, that means that they are not valuing their original product. They're doing exactly what H1Z1 did. They're taking a playbook from H1Z1 and saying, okay, people don't want to see other people play a dinosaur game. People want to see other people play a dinosaur game and kill other people. I don't know what it is with these companies starting out. I mean, H1Z1 and Ark Survival Evolved both did this. They started out with a survival game, and then they made a separate section for PvP only, and the PvP only is now their baby. It's like, dude, no. Stick to the primary thing, okay? And H1Z1's not even out yet, for God's sake. I mean, they're going to release Ark. No, you give me Ark on my console for the whole fucking thing. You don't give me... I don't want Survival of the Fittest. I want, you know... I want it to come out. I mean, come on, man. It's in on Xbox, for fuck's sake. Let us have it on PS4. Let us have the actual fucking game. Anyway, happy face. Moving on. San Diego Comic-Con will be July 21st, and I can't go because I'm broke as fuck. One day I'm going to get out to San Diego Comic-Con, I swear. July 22nd, we'll see Star Trek Beyond, which, Rip, I can't remember his name off the back of my head, but the guy that just died, that was the actor that played the new Chekhov. Yeah, he recently died. Apparently, there was like a faulty. They found him at like 1 in the morning, run over by his own car. There was some kind of accident, which really sucks because he was a really good actor, and I really would have liked to see him go further. He was like 27. It really sucks. Now, this is just rumors. Like, I read some article saying it. It could also be a hoax. Don't know. The actual news was reporting on it, so maybe, I don't know, it might be confirmed or not. You guys ought to check into that because I never did. So I'm just taking on face value that, you know, he's gone, and that sucks. Here's to Chekhov. Oh man, really sucks, man. Really sucks. I also saw a hoax, and the reason I'm skeptical is because I saw a hoax on Facebook over the weekend of Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey put out his own hoax to try and get people, you know, riled up, and, you know, prank people just to see how many people would believe it. And he put out that he put out the rumor himself that he had died, which is, you know, kind of funny if you think about it. Let's see, July 26th, we'll see the release of Fairy Fencer F, Advent Dark Force for PS4, and Shiren the Wanderer for PS Vita. And finally, rounding out the month on the 31st, will be Harry Potter and the Cursed Child Parts 1 and 2. Interesting. What is this? 19 years have passed in Harry Potter's world, and he now finds himself working hard in the Ministry of Magic. He has 3 children, one of them named Albus Severus, who is struggling with his father's legacy. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child Parts 1 and 2 is a new story written for the stage by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany, and Jack Thorne, debuting at London's West End of July 30. A day later, the book adaptation by Jack Thorne released in stores. Okay, so new Harry Potter stuff. That's cool. I would have liked it in movie form and not play form. They made it for the stage, though, so they might move it over to movies eventually, which would be really nice. So it looks like a really good month for PS4. Sony's gotten a lot of stuff coming out on their stuff exclusively this month, which is cool. Now, to the main topic. We've been going for about 40 minutes here, but I might as well make it like a solid hour or so of talking. Why the hell not? But here's the main article. We're talking Infinite Warfare here. Infinity Ward reinvigorates the war epic with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, building futuristic combat from realistic roots. This was written by Daniel Tack of Game Informer. It will be available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. It is a one-player shooter, online to be announced, right? But we know we all know it's going to be a 6v6, and then you're going to have your ground war and everybody. I really hope they bring new crazy game modes, and I really hope for zero-G maps. That would be fun. So published by Activision, developed by Infinity Ward, releasing November 4th, the usual time. Alright, so this is going to be somewhat of a lengthy thing. This is about, I'd say, 5 pages. Ooh, something like 6 pages. I don't know. So this is probably going to be the article that rounds us off. That's the reason I didn't read all the other big articles that may or may not have been interesting, is because I wanted to save the time for this. So let's get ahead and get started. When Infinity Ward introduced the newest Call of Duty installment via a teaser trailer in May, many were taken aback by its hard sci-fi setting. Rather than dabble in near-future technology like Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 before it, Infinite Warfare warped into a new setting complete with massive capital ships, starship battles, and robotic soldiers. Skeptics laid siege to the video reveal, making it one of the most disliked videos in YouTube history. Haters are nothing new to Call of Duty, as an annualized, I'm sorry, I read that so wrong. I can't read today. Annualized franchise, disenchanted gamers are prone to putting the series in their sights, but this felt like another level of doubt. To see how different Infinite Warfare really is from the rest of the series, we visited Infinity Ward, which gave us a deeper glimpse at how the game fits together with its predecessors. While the latest game features things you won't find in any other Call of Duty title, such as combat in zero-gravity environments, flying around space, and dogfighting, it's rooted in reality. A boots-on-the-ground saga, its developers say, is inspired by media like Band of Brothers, Black Hawk Down, and Saving Private Ryan. To that end, even though Infinite Warfare includes energy weapons and homing grenades, the franchise DNA is readily apparent. Let me state there, for the record, they quoted talking about Black Hawk Down and Saving Private Ryan. I gotta say, for Saving Private Ryan, that had to be the stupidest, most illogical movie I've ever seen. The movie itself was great, and the story and the true story of it is good, right? It's supposed to be a heartwarming tale, but if you think logically for 2 seconds on it, think the military screwed up by allowing all of the Ryan brothers onto the field at once, and then said, okay, shit, the other two or three, how many other brothers he had, are dead. So we gotta go get this guy. So we're gonna send 8 people who, in the movie, they all died. I'm not sure about the actual historical context, but at least in the movie, they all fucking died for this one guy. For one fucking guy. And I get it, it's a principle thing, but the military screwed up, so they were covering their own ass. Don't let them fool you in thinking it was for, you know, the easing of Mrs. Ryan or anything like that. It wasn't for the family. They screwed up and they were covering their own ass to say, hey, look, when he was in danger, we went and saved him. We sacrificed 8 other people, so all of their mothers are going to be sad now. But hey, we saved the one guy. Yeah, I like the movie itself, but I'm not a fan of the logic behind the movie. Anyway, back to the article. A bloody beginning. Infinite Warfare sets its events in the plausible future with no date given. Earth resources have dwindled down to nothing, right, which is plausible. So the planet's governments and businesses are seeking new power sources, fuels, and other supplies elsewhere in the galaxy. Our rationale is that this is a universe where resources are scarce, and we are basing this all on the reality of what's going on today, says narrative director Taylor Kurosaki. There's peak oil, we are running short of rare earth metals and minerals, we know that we're going to run out of things like this in our lifetime, and the off-planet moons, asteroids, and planetoids are a vast source of these raw materials that we will need for our further survival. He's completely right. That's actually based in reality. Peak oil is a thing. Peak oil is a thing. There's only so much metal to go around on Earth before we mine it all. Recycling is important because if we don't recycle now, we won't have it later, right? So we just throw everything away, and it gets rusty and decayed. Well, shit. Now it's not usable anymore, and we gotta go fight wars over stupid shit. Moving on. While the major powers of the world still squabble over control, space trade and travel is governed by a UN-style organization, the UNSA. The starship fleets of the world have gathered in Geneva, Switzerland, for the annual Fleet Week parade sponsored by the Solar Alliance Treaty Organization, or SATO. Could that be based on NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty of Organization, or Organizational Treaty, something like that? NATO, I know NATO's a thing, so this just happened to line up to say SATO. So I don't know, they could be basing off that. The powerful Peace Week initiative is cut short by a vicious surprise attack by the power-hungry opposing faction of the game, the Settlement Defense Front, or the SDF. An off-world group of insurgents who want nothing less than complete control of the galaxy. A sleeper cell agent hijacks the Earth's planetary defense systems and turns them on the parade, destroying the majority of the Allied fleet in moments. Sound familiar from history? They might have taken a page from Japan's playbook. Let's see, moving on here. While a simultaneous ground attack seeks to take out the world's leaders and other attendees, we witness this chaos unfold during an early mission through the eyes of Lieutenant Reyes, a soldier thrust into the reins of command. Reyes is shoved directly into the action using many familiar Call of Duty weapons like submachine guns and sniper rifles to survive the assault. The weapons have a familiar look to them, but some of them have a decidedly futuristic twist, like using energy instead of ammunition, which is cool. It's a nice change of pace. Anytime, just letting you guys know, anytime I look at the camera and say something, that's my personal thing, and I'm not reading it off the page. Just to show you guys that it's my opinion and not actually in there. So that's kind of a quick way of you guys identifying when I'm voicing myself. Anyway, we see some high-tech armaments, like a seeker grenade that crawls along surfaces before finding and annihilating its targets. Outside of robot soldiers and capital ships hovering above, the action is classic Call of Duty, with explosions everywhere as havoc reigns. Directed by Michael Bay. Recent additions to the franchise, such as 4-player co-op and wide-open environments, are absent, with things harkening back to earlier titles in the franchise. After blasting through the battle-besieged streets of Geneva as the fleets of the world are blown apart in the stars above, Reyes is promoted to captain of the new home away from home in Infinite Warfare, the capital starship Retribution. With the original Retribution captain dead and the world's fleet almost completely destroyed, Reyes must become the commander Earth needs to chart a course to victory against the brutal insurgents. Now, let's analyze that for a minute. They're talking about the SDF, the Settlement Defense Front. They're talking about the SDF, and they're calling them insurgents and this, that, and the other. Think about it, though. Think about what they're doing. It's kind of the equivalent of Jonathan Irons in Advanced Warfare. For all the hate that people give Advanced Warfare, I hate along with them. But you have to admit, the campaign storyline, not the campaign gameplay itself, but the storyline was pretty decent. I mean, the bad guy, for once, he didn't just want to destroy the world and rule it. He wanted to do it for a good reason, right? The world was at war. So maybe that's what the Settlement Defense Front's thinking, is all these stupid petty governments squabbling over resources, while the real pioneers we're out here mining and gaining these resources. Why? Just to send them back to Earth for people to fight over? No, that's stupid. So how about we just take out the stupid Earthlings and we start up a new Earth and we actually cooperate with each other. Now, could that be the story? Maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know. That would be kind of an interesting story. Kind of humanize the insurgents and make the terrorists people and have them a real reason, and have it turn out that your government is lying to you, saying that they're insurgents, when in reality all they want is sovereignty and freedom. They could be freedom fighters for all we know, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, so who knows. There's a picture of Lieutenant Reyes. It says, Lieutenant Reyes must assume leadership duties as captain of the Retribution. The Retribution serves as an evolving hub for the player. Okay, so we're going to see something similar to Black Ops 3's command ship thing that you went in and you kind of you changed up your guns and your gear and whatnot inside it. I hope this one's a little more extensive. Black Ops 3's version seemed a little pale, didn't seem right. So if you guys want to see the pictures, that is Lieutenant Reyes up above. And then there's the hub ship thing that we will call home in Infinite Warfare. So that sounds pretty cool, being the captain of a starship that has to go stop, insurgents from another world. Like, that sounds really cool to me. Then again, I'm a sci-fi nut. I know many Call of Duty players aren't. That would be why they're hating on the game. But if you hate on this, dude, just go play Battlefield, alright? If you're not going to like Infinite Warfare, let me enjoy it. You go away, okay? Go play Battlefield if you want boots on the ground, Stone Age shit, okay? If you want to be that anti-technology, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm a child of the future. I really thoroughly believe in, advancement and shit like that. Okay, so it says, meet the crew. While the Retribution houses thousands of people from engineer to soldier, the core team close to you plays a huge role in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. These are some of the critical characters you interact with on your journey to put a halt to the machinations? Machinations? Hold on, let me Google this word because I'm butchering this word, and I've never actually heard this word before.
This is, I have an extensive vocabulary, and I've never heard this. How is it pronounced? I need to see it spelled phonetically so I can see it pronounced. An act of machinating, a scheming or crafty action or artful design intended to accomplish some usually evil end. Is there a way to say it? I'd like a breakdown of how to say it. Machination. Okay, I was saying it right. Alright, I thought so. So it's machinations of the SDF. Due to the global nature of UNSA, your team is composed of many various nationalities and backgrounds, except to some other major players as well. Oh, expect to see some other major players as well, but these are the troops you get to know intimately. Okay, so we've got Lieutenant Reyes, nationality American. The protagonist, Reyes, is forced into a commanding role, taking control of the last remaining UNSA capital starship, the Retribution. Before that, he served in the Special Combat Air Recon, or SCARS, essentially the equivalent of a Navy SEAL. As Captain of Earth's Last Hope, the war hinges on Reyes' decisions due to the urgency and nature of the missions at hand. He must jump in the thick of combat with his team, making tough choices for the good of the mission and not necessarily the good of the crew. While many Call of Duty titles place you in the position of a soldier following instructions and taking orders, this time around, you are the one issuing them. That could be really cool, to see your decisions actually change things. Now, we saw some kind of mockery of that in Black Ops 2. In Black Ops 2, it was like, oh, well, actual decisions you make in the campaign are going to affect it later. It was like minor character changes, one or two things. Now, this could be cool, though, if they decided to do something like, okay, kind of like XCOM does, where you have to manage different missions, and you could be like, okay, we can attack the settlement defense front here, or protect the civilians that are being raided over here. Which one do we want to do? Do we want to attack the enemy or help the civilians and gain some hearts and minds? That could be a kind of cool thing to do. Next one is Admiral Rains, nationality American. Lieutenant Reyes' longtime friend and mentor, Rains would not normally be seen out on the battlefield in close quarters combat. The events at Geneva put Rains and many other high-ranking officers and officials in the center of a war zone. Rains delivers news and offers advice to Reyes over the course of the campaign against the unshakable SDF. Okay, so that's kind of cool. You kind of have an advisor treating you. Now, I have a feeling, since he's going to be giving you advice and stuff, and he's like your longtime friend, I feel like Admiral Rains might try to betray you at some point. Like, he might drink the Kool-Aid and secretly be Summit Defense Front. I mean, they said there was a sleeper agent who, hold on, let me go back to the article here. It says, a sleeper cell agent hijacked the Earth's planetary defense systems. Who else would have easy access to the planetary defense systems of Earth than an admiral? Let's see here. Next is Lieutenant Salter, nationality Lebanese. Lieutenant Salter has been Reyes' friend and wingman for many years, while Reyes' unexpected promotion has put added strain on their relationship, as she is now a subordinate in the chain of command instead of equals. Salter isn't one to hold back on speaking her mind. She has plenty of attitude and isn't afraid to challenge her superiors or take things off script during a mission if she feels it's the right thing to do. If Salter has something to say, expect to hear it loudly. Okay, so your typical strong female protagonist. So, you know, you knew that was going to be in there somewhere. So let's see. Sergeant Omar, nationality British. Sergeant Omar leads the Marines aboard the Retribution. He's sort of that hard-ass action movie foil to Lieutenant Reyes, who doesn't always agree with him, but gets the job done and always has his back in a fight. Omar is all about solving problems with action. He has a personal stake in the fight, as his family suffered at the hands of the SDF. Omar has a brazen, outspoken exterior, but always has his mind on the mission and his men. And then ETH.3N, or Ethan. Nationality American. I don't know how a fucking robot could have nationality, but okay. ETH.3N, or Enhanced Tactical Humanoid 3rd Revision, is a robot soldier with speed, power, and defenses that human troops can't match. What separates Ethan from the hordes of retrofitted miner bots and other assault robots that some Defense Front has under its command is that he's one of a kind, a tactical soldier bot programmed to have human responses and emotions to every situation. Ethan grows with the team and individuals, even though he's not really accepted at first, especially by old school troopers like Omar. That was a theory I had in reveal for Infinite Warfare's trailer. Hold on. Oh, throat's getting a little dry. When I watched the gameplay trailer, and they had Ethan in there, I was like, dude, you're gonna have like a robot best friend. This is so cool. What if he's got like higher functioning AI and changes with you? And so it seems to be confirming that yes, you are gonna have a little robot buddy that comes and hangs out. He's your little Wally friend, and he's gonna change and grow and have emotions and whatnot, which sounds pretty damn cool. All right, next we have Know Your Enemy. The Settlement Defense Front won't be earning any sympathy from most players. They're as evil as it gets. Okay, so out the window goes the whole freedom fighter angle, which kind of sucks. I like my enemies to have ambiguity and a gray area. I don't like the whole black and white shooter thing, unless it's something like Doom, where it's like, yes, he's a giant monster from hell, shoot it in the face. Says, while the SDF does not consider itself to be the bad guys, they're scarily single-minded, true believers in their cause. A victory for the SDF means that essential resources and the bounty of space stop going to Earth for good. They consider themselves the true inheritors of the solar system, says narrative director Taylor Kurosaki. They feel like their way of life is stronger, more pure. They feel that by living off-world, that makes them more worthy of running the solar system, and consider the people of Earth weak fat cats that are living off the bounty of the off-world colonies. That's their point of view. But I also think that they are delusional, perverted, fascist, greedy, and are hell-bent on the destruction of the world as we know it. Okay, he's got a fair point there, with the whole greedy fat cats thing. It's like, why should they get these resources when we're the ones mining it and whatever? So maybe, you know, he might have a point there. I'm not trying to sympathize with the SDF at all until I actually play the game, but it's kind of an interesting angle. These off-world colonists are sort of space-age gold rushers that headed off to the frontier of space. As such, they are all about functionality over style, which is reflected in everything from ships and weapons to combat armor. As you grab discarded weaponry and use it, you can easily see that these are no frills, sometimes even repurposed items from tools or other equipment. They carve out their weapons with raw materials, eschewing plastics and mats. The SDF has also reprogrammed and retrofitted many service droids to retask them from say, mining duties to the destruction of their enemies. Solar panels, construction bot trappings, and many of these other identifiers remain on their new forms. With the SDF's focus on pure efficiency, nothing goes to waste. They're willing to kill civilians, soldiers, and anyone else that gets in their way to take control of Earth and the galactic economy, says art director Brian Horton. We wanted a functional first aesthetic, right? Form follows function. Utilitarian, practical, and unrefined. Their suits are modular, so they can mix and match pieces, with everything designed to protect them from the elements in harsh areas like Mars. We took inspiration from Soviet designs and British designs from the 60s, giving them a distinct look that gave them a silhouette that was intimidating and unique. While the SDF has legions of troops, ships, and killing drones with no other purpose but slaughter, some standout faces are in the mix as well. One of these is Raya, a sleeper cell stationed in Geneva who has planned for years to set off a chain of events that ultimately hijack the Earth's planetary defense system and blow apart the majority of the world's fleet during the annual Fleet Week parade. Okay, and out goes the theory about the Admiral betraying you. Now, he might betray you later, not sure. It'd be a nice, change of pace for your guy to actually turn on you like that. Well, not really, because they did that in Black Ops 2. They had your dude that kind of turned on you. But, whatever. Moving on. Perhaps the most prominent of your enemies is Admiral Salen Koch, the commander of the Olympus Mons. Koch is the big bad and the leader of the SDF. The Olympus Mons is an incredible supercarrier starship, almost twice the size of the Retribution, 900 meters in comparison to 590 meters, and the ultimate weapon of the SDF. Well, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, so, of course, the good guys are always gonna win. For once, Call of Duty, please, this year, please surprise me with a campaign ending of the bad guy wins. Please. No last-minute savior, no nothing. Just kill my character, okay? Kill off the protagonist, kill his whole squad, and then spark a new war for the series. So Infinite Warfare 2 will be interesting to see. Hell, make Infinite Warfare 2 from the side of the SDF. And, have you going on missions for the SDF, have you put you on both sides, and then in Infinite Warfare 3, dude, you could totally have it to where you choose your side then. then your guy's just like this mercenary who's picking sides. That could be interesting. That could be a change of pace for the series. That would be really great. But God, I'm so sick of the good guy winning by fucking definition. Like, just because you're the good guy means you always win. Ridiculous. Anyway, this enormous capital ship's arsenal includes a devastating array of weapons and functions as Infinite Warfare's primary nemesis, tracking down your forces like a predator seeking prey over the course of the game. While ultimately we expect to take on the powerhouse vessel, it is a force that will inspire dread and fear into Lieutenant Reyes' forces and the Retribution. Okay, so the Settlement Defense Front has retrofitted service and worker robots to become death machines, right? That's what they were talking about. So this is a picture, one of the things. This thing looks hella intimidating. So if you notice, there's a couple guys in the back here, and then you got the big dude up front. He looks like, his head reminds me of sort of like an Aliens thing. So it's kind of like the Aliens head, where it's kind of like long in the back. And so it kind of gives me a Space Marine sort of vibe, you know? It gives me sort of like an Aliens, Colonial Marines thing of the robot. But, you know, oh god, let's not talk about that game. Colonial Marines was such a fuck up. New faces at Infinity Ward. So, since the 2013 release of Call of Duty Ghosts, Infinity Ward has had some significant talent acquisitions. The merging of Neversoft, the people behind Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Guitar Hero, into the company in 2014, and adding some new faces from Naughty Dog's Uncharted and The Last of Us, like narrative director Taylor Kurosaki and design director Jacob Minkoff, have expanded the studio's horizons. Infinity Ward has a long history, and this incarnation of Infinity Ward is a new studio in many ways, says studio head Dave Stoll. It's interesting because it's rooted with a lot of experience in this franchise, plus a lot of new people from other studios that have been kind of brought together. It's a collection of very experienced developers, but it's also a new group of people kind of working together for the first time as a studio. That's kind of cool. I like that they're drawing from other companies. They're not sticking to their old roster. They're not sticking to the old formula. They're changing it up. They're trying something new. And if they're bringing in people, they're bringing in dudes from The Last of Us, damn, that story should be good. If you let them do their thing on the story and said, okay, we're going to make some powerful story moments for you. Alright, let's see here. Charting a course. The Retribution serves as your base of operations in Infinite Warfare. You can hear the crew members stationed on the massive ship, chat and interact with them as you travel to various sections of the ship, pop off a few rounds and perfect your loadout at the shooting range, check out the news reports regarding the war effort on the big screen, track your progress against the enemy fleet, and plan your missions at the bridge. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that that's, you know, kind of, the ship is alive. It's not just sort of a staging ground. It's more of, you know, a part of you. It's your home. So, Infinite Warfare features core story missions that you progress through linearly, as well as a wealth of optional side missions that can offer additional insight into the characters and crew. Okay, that's cool. I like some originality. I like some branching storylines. These missions also provide new upgrades, weapons, and assets, so participating can give you an advantage when you move to tackle the core content. The look and temperature of the Retribution's crew changes based on the mission you are about to tackle or the current events of the war, so expect to see it in states of disrepair, despair, or confidence as the war rages on. The Retribution is our home, an evolving, mutating hub for Reyes to come back to between each mission, Kurosaki says. Remember that there is no backup for us. The Retribution was not supplied before the Geneva attack when this thing started. We just happened to be at the parade. We're not ready for a deployment. Your crew will be bringing together everything they have to keep that thing floating and keeping us from losing the war. While this massive capital craft definitely looks like it could pass for a Star Wars ship on the outside, the interiors are inspired heavily by a combination of both Navy and NASA protocol and functionality. These modular and redundant systems offer parts available to be changed out on the fly depending on the situation, and giving the commander utility for any number of contingencies. It was very challenging to balance the elements of NASA and Navy, says design director Jacob Minkoff. It's a unique challenge anytime you're grounding something to make it realistic so that it's reasonable, but also then see enough change that people can see why something may be still happening in the future. An aircraft carrier may be in service for 50 years. That means you can see technology from the 70s, next to technology from the 90s, next to technology from today.
he's got a good point there. You know, the ship is going to look somewhat old, something blue, something borrowed, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see that. Okay, so that's more of this more of that. Okay, so let's get this out of the way because I know everybody's talking about this. Remastering a masterpiece. Here we go. Each copy of Infinite Warfare comes packed with a remastered version of critical darling and commercial success Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Excuse me. Infinity Ward and Raven Studios are coming together to ensure that the remastered versions... let me sit up here a minute. Okay. The remastered versions controls have button press timing parity with the original title down to fractions of a second. While the gameplay stays faithful to the 2007 classic, the studios are making visual alterations to take advantage of new technology. From squalls turning into hurricanes to lifelike whiskers on Sergeant Price's beard. Maps keep their original designs down to exact cover locations, but will visually better represent real environments with a new attention to detail. The environments are so iconic that it was really important for us to maintain the integrity of the play space, says Raven Software Studio Director David Pellis. We needed to kind of ratchet it up, and not just in a visual way, but with immersion factor. So we added a lot of interactive objects, a lot more detail went into it. Alongside the 1080p overhaul, improved textures, lighting, audio rendering, sound, and motion capture enhancements, the team also took a look at weapons. While the weapons obviously shouldn't change much in the remake, the technology and rendering improvements has amped things up visually on the weapons to make details more realistic, down to where weapons are held. Raven is also adding little nuances and touch-ups to the existing armory, like scarring, scuffing, and little nicks in the woodstock. One of the big questions among fans right now is whether or not they will eventually be able to pick up Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered outside of purchasing Infinite Warfare, and if not, why not? I know we're very focused about it shipping with Infinite Warfare, Pellis says. We think the new fans, the old fans, they're really going to love the value they get with them being packed in. As far as what's after that, I'm just trying to get the game done and get it out to the fans as quickly as possible. Alright. You guys already know my 2 cents on COD 4 Remastered, so I'm not going to say anything about it. If you guys want to see my whole my whole spiel about Remastered, go and watch my thing on the Advanced Warfare trailer and etc. etc. So yeah, go check those out because that's where my stuff's going to be. Okay, I'm not going to talk any more about COD 4 Remastered. I really don't give a fuck. Okay. It's an old game, it was a good game, game over, moving on to the next COD, okay? That time is gone. You know, I'm not going to get the $80 version just to get COD 4 Remastered. No, thank you. I will stick with Infinite Warfare. Anyway, Seamless Space Warfare. Let me get a drink real quick. Throat's getting dry again. Oh, man. Man, I dare anybody try and read this and try and, enunciate properly and whatnot without their voice drying out. Seamless Space Warfare. Infinite Warfare features 3 distinct modes of combat, and a player may engage in all 3 during the same mission. Interesting. The traditional ground-based infantry warfare is at the core, but space combat, both inside vehicles and on foot, in Zero Gravity, give Call of Duty Infinite Warfare 2 unique distinguishing factors from the other series' directions. From the surface of a planet or the launch base of the Retribution, the player can fire off into space via the Jackal, the UNSA's take on the personal starfighter that Infinity Ward says is inspired by real-world fighter jets. Okay, it's pretty cool. Jackals feature heavy guns, light guns, and missiles for attacking options, and countermeasures like flares that help dodge incoming attacks. During space combat, you also take on turrets on enemy capital ships while protecting your friends and blowing apart swarms of enemy starships, which are called Skelters. Ooh. Excuse me. Ooh. When you are ready to breach and destroy a capital starship, you have to pop out of your craft and enter the void of space to find a vulnerable entry point, taking on other human combatants in a zero-gravity environment, where your grappling hook is an essential tool for moving around the environment on a capital ship exterior. It also serves as a deadly ad hoc weapon for pulling unfortunate enemies' forces closer to tear their helmets off or send them hurling through the void of space. These segments look slightly arcade-like and quite different from anything we've come to expect in Call of Duty Vehicular Combat. Okay, so basically what they're talking about is what we saw in the gameplay trailer. In the gameplay trailer, we saw this mission where you were in your ship, and then you were out of your ship, and you're flying around with this grappling hook, and then your boots on the ground inside another ship, and it was just interesting. Now, they're saying that this is not really an on-rail shooter, and I've gotten word from watching Drifter that he said that that wasn't an on-rail shooter section either. And so, for once in the series, we might actually have actual fucking control over our vehicles, which would be very nice. Okay, so let's see. Zero gravity combat is an exhilarating change of pace, and you have special reactive armor available so that a stray enemy shot isn't a death sentence. As we all know that sound doesn't exist in the void of space, a special helmet dodges that plot loophole, as it would be incredibly boring, if accurate, to have soundless segments in a game like this, so that you can hear every powerful rocket-propelled grenade and clip blasted when you romp around on the outside of one of these huge capital ships. Okay, so they're kind of solving the loophole, saying, oh yeah, no sound in space. Okay, you're gonna have a special helmet that tells you when bullets are whizzing by. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice way to solve the problem there, because you know people are gonna bitch about that. You know people are gonna be like, but there's no sound in space. It's a vacuum, man. You can't make sound in a vacuum. It's just the fucking dungeon-dwelling fanboys are just, ugh. Anyway, after infiltrating and disabling the capital ship from within, you can head back to your winning Jackal and dart back into space to land victoriously at the Retribution. This cycle of space combat is unique to Infinite Warfare and adds variety for players looking for something other than a traditional ground warfare experience. Enemy ship bridges can range from simple scuttling the ship maneuvers to more advanced fare, like stealing technology or assassinating an SDF commander. The idea is that the whole game is this continuous experience, says Chief Creative Officer Carl Schnur. You land in the Jackal, you board, you go up and in the elevator, walk to the bridge, you select what you're going to do, go down, suit out, hop back into your Jackal, launch out, get onto the enemy ship, do all this stuff, back into the Jackal, go back, land, and just keep going. Sounds pretty fucking cool to me. Let's see. You face not only settlement defense front soldiers, but deadly robotic enemies as well. Lieutenant Salter is Reyes' lifetime friend and ally, and the settlement defense front focuses on efficiency and functionality. So that tells me they don't really give a damn about looking pretty. Alright, so as we can see, we've got some black dude down here. I'm guessing that'll be the Admiral or Omar. Well, they said Omar was British, and he's got a British flag, if you notice, on his little patch. So that's probably Omar. Here's some settlement defense dudes, and then here. I'm trying to do this backwards. So up here is Lieutenant Salter, who's the female lead, and then we've got kind of like a big open area showing off a fighting area in the game. So let's see here. Stalking the arsenal of the future. Infinite Warfare features more weapons than any other Call of Duty title. Okay, that's a good start. Weapons come in many recognizable styles and types, including different classes of assault rifles, submachine guns, sniper rifles, shotguns, etc., that players are already familiar with from military shooters. There's a mix of energy and ballistic weapons, says lead weapon artist Sean Byers. We're trying to create something believable and real, and have created the weapons to reflect that. Each of the weapon companies does a certain thing, but while keeping the feeling of these weapons true to their original inspirations, the setting has allowed the team to create some more interesting guns as well, like collapsing an assault rifle into a submachine gun to switch functionality on the fly. The weapons in Infinite Warfare come from 5 or 6 core fictional manufacturers, plus a few others for sight, stocks, and other attachments. So what they said about the assault rifle collapsing into a submachine gun, that's definitely inspired by the Ripper from COD Ghost. I mean, you can't tell me it's not. That's definitely it. Which is cool. I like dual functionality weapons. I like weapons to be unique. I don't want the same gun over and over again. I want each of them to have their own niche. I want each of them to work the same way for killing something, but I want them to do it in a slightly different way from the previous weapon, if you know what I mean. So I liked the NA-45 in Advanced Warfare. I liked the XMGs in Advanced Warfare. I liked the what was it? What was the one thing? What the fuck? I can't even remember now what it was. The grappling hook.
The grappling hook was cool. It wasn't really a weapon, it was more movement, but it was cool. The M1 irons were cool. They were all very unique. They had their own way of doing things, which was really cool. Alright, so moving on. We start the list with Kendall Ballistics. This military-grade weapons manufacturer primarily makes M4s and other traditional Call of Duty weaponry. The recognizable weaponry has a futuristic touch, like an M4 with an OLED GPS display. Kendall creates realistic weapons. Guns don't look like motorcycles or anything. Guns don't look like motorcycles or anything, says Byers. People still use guns from the early 1900s today, so there's no reason these guns wouldn't exist in some way in the universe. You look on screen and you'll go, oh, I know that gun. Okay, so that's good. Familiarity is good. Oh, excuse me. Mashimo, a Japanese company that creates high-energy, fast-firing weapons. These guns still feel like ballistic-style weapons, but with interesting and unusual perks due to the energy cell ammunition. Right, so we saw some of that in the gameplay trailer. This one was, it appeared to be written in Chinese. I guess it was written in Japanese. I guess it would have been Mashimo that made it. And we saw that in the gameplay trailer. If you go back and watch that video of mine, I actually paused the video and showed you guys the E-cell, where he was firing this, it looked like an electronic energy weapon thing, and it looked really cool. I really liked that. And it had a sexy reload animation. The reload animation was so fucking awesome for that gun. So I guess it was made by Mashimo, or at least all indications point there. Let's see. For instance, a weapon could have a smart sight on the side so that when you shift the weapon, you can move from submachine gun functionality to blow the rest of your power cell on a shotgun style blast. Right, Drifter was actually talking about that. I'm going to link Drifter's video in it. He was talking about some of these other unique weapons, and I think it's really cool. So if you guys want to check that out and learn more about some of the unique weapons that are coming in Infinite Warfare, I will link that below so you guys can check that out by Drifter, because I really like Drifter. He really gets his point across very well. So let's see. You can then pop out your empty energy cell and put it into a rechargeable pack to keep the party going, essentially allowing you to regenerate ammo. These weapons often have multiple functions that can use energy in interesting ways. Okay, so that's fucking amazing right there. I think Mashimo is going to be my main user. I think I'm going to be all over the energy weapons. I mean, it regenerates ammo. That's why I like the ICR. That's the weapon I was thinking of earlier that I couldn't remember the name of. Not the ICR, the IMR. I'm sorry. The IMR from Infinite Warfare. Or Advanced Warfare. I can't speak today. Press 1 for English. Okay, but the IMR from Advanced Warfare, how it would print ammo. Now, it really didn't do it efficiently, but this would be really cool if it did, to basically give you Scavenger without having to have Scavenger, but have some sort of penalty to where, okay, yeah, it reloads efficiently enough, and it recharges its ammo efficiently enough, but you're going to have less range or less accuracy or something that makes it to kind of even it out and balance the weapon. That would be really cool. Fujiwara, a Japanese company specializing in energy weapons with artistic and extravagant designs, offering high-class, expensive weaponry in comparison to the more affordable Mashimo. One of the more interesting energy weapons by Fujiwara is the Mod 2, an SMG that you can fire at long/medium range, and then rotate and pull it apart in what amounts to splitting the weapon in half to create akimbo pistols for a close combat encounter like breaching a room. That's fucking awesome! That is severely cool! So just imagine this. Imagine this in a COD trailer. You could see this, couldn't you? In a COD multiplayer real trailer? Oh, hell yeah, you could see that. You could see this dude running across a battlefield, and he's just boom, 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 he slides into cover, and then he's just boom, 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 just boom, 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 and he just takes down like 3 dudes, and then he's running up to this door, and he's like doom, 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 and he breaks them apart, and then just boom, boom, going into a room, just annihilating with pistols. Oh my god, that sounds amazing to me. This is why I like the idea of Infinite Warfare. This is why I think it's a good idea that they go in the future. Why? Because this is the only place you could do that. That would be so where you can make really unique, awesome, dual-function weapons. I love the idea of dual function, man. I really, really fucking love it. Okay. God, that fucking made me, that just came right there. That is so cool. Oh my god, I'm fanboying so hard on these weapons. Interestingly enough, they're both Japanese companies, and they both specialize in energy weapons. Go figure that one out. Let's see. EDI focuses on experimental weapon designs and energy weapons with a focus on high quality. These are some of the most advanced weapons available in the game, showcasing secret prototypes. Ooh, experimental weapons. Ooh, could be fun. And finally, rounding off the list is Atomic Dynamics, prototype company specializing in raw designs with exposed capacitors and wiring, big screen presence, and experimental technology. Expect railguns and weapons that charge up, but they're a bit more rough around the edges than EDI's offerings. Okay, so to finish the article, from pistols with electronically charged ammunition that can shoot multiple bullets at once in a burst fire configuration to single fire or massive Gatling gun beasts like the Steel Dragon prototype, you can find the perfect loadout for your style of grounded in reality future tech. I want that Gatling gun. I like it. I like it a lot. I want that multiplayer. That shit better be multiplayer. That needs to be the first LMG you get. The Steel Dragon? Yeah, give me that. I want that. In addition to the enormous armory of guns, a number of other notable new items are at your disposal. Spider-like robotic seeker grenades can crawl along the ground and walls and can identify, target, and attack enemies at your command. That'd be pretty cool if they did that. That would be kind of cool multiplayer. It could get annoying very fast. I'd like to see something unique like that multiplayer, but not necessarily that. That sounds like an IED on steroids. So let's see. Autonomous drones can help keep opponents off your back. Zero gravity nades can create pockets of zero gravity in the environment, incapacitating groups of enemies and potentially moving them from the safety of cover. I want that multiplayer 100%. Fuck off to anybody who disagrees with me, because that is cool as shit. Imagine a guy head glitching and you can't get at him, so you take a fucking nade, just chuck it over a wall, and then boom, for 2 seconds he flies up in the air and can't shoot back, and you just pop him right between the eyes. How cool would that be? That would be amazing. So let's see. If you're feeling like getting right into the thick of things, try a shield that smashes opponents out of the way when you're not protecting yourself from an incoming barrage. Players can also cook a grenade while firing their weapon, which should shake up the dynamics of grenade lobbing quite a bit. Whoa. Players can also cook a grenade. You can cook a nade while firing a weapon, so it's basically going to be like, boop, 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 cook, boop, 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 whoop, and he's just going to throw it out. That would be fucking awesome! That's cool as shit. I really hope that makes it into multiplayer, because that will change the flow and the meta and the dynamic of the game. So it's like, do I want to hold the nade real quick and then throw it? Or do I want to fire at the guy? Now you can do both. Now you can click and then put like a little timer under the reticle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then that way you can keep an eye on your nade that's sitting in your inventory, and then when you hit it again, it'll just throw it out. That would be great to breach a room with. Imagine a shotgun. That could be in the multiplayer arena. Imagine the multiplayer. Guy goes in with a fucking shotgun. Boom, 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 boom. Just typical pump action shotgun. Normal. And then he hits the nade before he goes in the room, goes in, blows everybody away. Just boom, 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 boom. And then another dude's coming out the side, and he just click, boom, throws it to the side and blows this dude up on 2 seconds remaining. Oh, that would be so cool. That's great. That's great to hear. I like that they're trying different things. And I like the shield coming back. That better be in multiplayer. I like the idea of the shield. Ooh, there's still a bit of this to go. We've got about a page of information to go. A lot of pictures on this one, though. So, we're about to be done with. This has gone on way longer than I thought it would. So let's see. New environments, exciting set pieces. The Call of Duty series is known for summer blockbuster-style sequences and campaigns full of explosive moments that often task the player to pilot various vehicles and brave absurd obstacles. Infinite Warfare trades in the same fare and is taking advantage... Oh, sorry, my brain just farted. Infinite Warfare trades in the same fare and is taking advantage of unique elements that could only take place in the future. Directed by Michael Bay. Every fucking COD has been directed by Michael Bay, because they gotta have explosions everywhere or it's not an action game. Alright. So one mission tasks Reyes and his crew to investigate a critical mining facility that has ceased production. The mining crew hasn't checked in, and the supplies are crucial to the ongoing efforts of the campaign. Something big has changed at the facility, as the asteroid it's housed on has been knocked out of its orbit, and its rotation has turned the day-night cycle completely out of whack. With the entire cycle completing in around a minute, the volatile new orbit has placed the rock incredibly close to a nearby sun, making the daytime around 2,000 degrees of heat and completely unsustainable. That is amazing. That's cool. Make a multiplayer map like that. I want dynamic changes in my multiplayer map. The mission begins like an unsettling horror film as the crew discovers some of the miners have met unfortunate fates. With the focus shifting toward finding survivors and surviving the ordeal yourselves, the adventure quickly turns into a search and rescue game of red light, green light, where the player must take on both the enemies waiting for them at the facility and the deadly heat of the sun, moving only during brief, safe snatches of night to avoid baking to a crisp. This tense trek capitalizes on some futuristic fare while maintaining the team-based infantry feel of the series. We also get a look at something new for this game, the ability to peek inside rooms. Players can crack open the door slowly, looking for enemies waiting in ambush instead of kicking the door open entirely. This lets players take out dangerous foes by throwing a grenade in or firing from a better position before knocking out the door entirely. Alternatively, if you're feeling like Rambo, you're certainly more than welcome to kick down the door immediately or even kick it in during the peeking process. So cool, peeking's a thing. That's cool. But did anybody get an image of Chronicles of Riddick? No, just me. You know, the scene on the prison planet where they're like, you know, where if the sun comes up, it fries you, and they're trying to run and beat the sun and get to their ship and escape. And it's just like, he's like, you know, don't step up if you can't keep up, or something like that. And he says, don't step up if you can't keep up. And then one dude actually ends up getting burned on a rock, and it's just, oh, so great. Taking flight. Call of Duty may release annually, but the various studios and visions behind each title bring new things to the formula every time. Infinite Warfare is a mix of things old and new, with classic rooted in reality combat, while simultaneously offering a taste of a technologically advanced future, and big differentiators like space dogfighting, zero-gravity combat, new weapons, and substantial mechanics changes, while the initial reveal played up elements from the space age category. It's clear that while futuristic explorations and diversions are on the menu, the core gameplay is down to earth, featuring elements from earlier titles in the franchise before we moved to Ages Beyond. Infinite Warfare will also launch with Zombies mode and a robust multiplayer component, but we'll have to wait for more details to see how space design and feel influences these other styles of gameplay. More details on the multiplayer will be revealed at the Call of Duty Experience event, which is returning this year to Los Angeles. That event actually just concluded. It was COD XP, and I can't wait to hear all kinds of neat shit coming out of there. And our last little article piece here, it says, Chasing Ghosts. Infinity Ward's last Call of Duty title ended on a cliffhanger, but it's uncertain whether fans will ever get any closure to a resolution or a future for Ghosts, one of the series' more divisive titles when it came to critical reception. There was little surprise when Infinite Warfare was announced instead of a follow-up. We asked Infinity Ward about the reception to Ghost and if the studio would return to that story. Ghost was a huge effort, says studio head Dave Stoll. As you know, it was Infinity Ward's last 2-year development cycle, and it shipped during a console transition year. Of course, there was a lot to learn from that title, and as developers, we learn from every game we create. Since Ghost, the studio has worked hard and put a renewed focus on various innovations. This year, one of those innovations will be our narrative, for instance. Okay, so he pretty much dodged the question like any good politician or PR guy. He dodged the question and he said, yeah, we're focusing on other stuff right now, so they're not counting it out complete. They're not, I mean, I wish they would just say, fuck off, we're not making another Ghost. At least then we'd get some closure. Be like, well, okay, they just don't want to give us another Ghost. Honestly, I want a Ghost 2. I want the story to continue. The story was very good. The story was kind of unique. So we got some pictures here. It says the Settlement Defense Front proves to be a brutal, powerful enemy. It's got some propaganda up there. Another thing has Sergeant Omar, the black guy we saw earlier. I was right in assuming that was him. Commands the Marines aboard the Retribution. So I'm guessing this is a picture of the Retribution below him. And here's the Retribution's hull. And there's this thing. There's this building on what I assume is the asteroid they were talking about in the red light, green light thing. And it's like on fire, scalding hot metal and stuff. And then this big picture of this guy firing a gun at robots. While some missions will take you out into space, there are many close-quarter interior encounters as well. Okay, so let's see some of the photographs here. This is the propaganda I was talking about from the Settlement Defense Front. Here's the big picture of this guy in the interior, like they were saying, interior, and there's all these robots coming at him, and he's kind of squashed in. He doesn't have anywhere to go. There was no text to this guy. So I like the rifle he's carrying. The rifle looks very unique. If you look up close, it looks very interesting. It's got a bullpup design. I love bullpup design. Bullpups is a very good design. Which way? Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. Trying to figure out which way to go with the camera. So if you look on the... There we go. This side, my hands, they don't work. So here's Omar. I'm guessing this is the Retribution. Here's the interior, and here's the burning building I was talking about. It looks like something straight out of Doom or some kind of hellish shooter, you know? Okay, so that is officially the end of that. I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Oh my god, there's a preview of Battlefield 1. There's all kinds of stuff that I can cover at a later date, and I probably will do that later. Right now, I'm done with Game Informer. Say goodbye. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, then do the usual. Like, subscribe, check out my streams, and I will see you guys in the next video. Reap the Rager, signing off.